Welcome, I'm Jesus Pantel, and I am the Cultural Arts Funding Program Team Lead. You are watching the 2019 Mandatory Pre-Contract Orientation for the Core and Cultural Heritage Festivals programs. This orientation is mandated by the City of Austin Central Purchasing Office. If you are awarded funding for fiscal year 2019 in either Core or Cultural Heritage Festivals, you are required to complete this orientation and the orientation quiz, which can be found in the Section 5 Attachments tab of your ZoomGrants 2019 application. The purpose of this orientation is to ensure you are aware of all of your contractual obligations before signing and entering into the FY19 contract. As we go through the pre-contract orientation, be on the lookout for items in orange text. Those items are new for fiscal year 2019. In this orientation, we will cover all the contract requirements for both Core and Cultural Heritage funding recipients, as well as how to complete the pre-contract materials. We'll go over your contract, how to invoice once your contract is approved and processed by the City's Purchasing Office, marketing resources, and we will briefly touch on the final report requirements. Before we begin, I would like to introduce you to the Cultural Arts Funding Team and the contracts they will be administering. I will be administering all Cultural Heritage Festivals contracts and all Core organizational support contracts. The remaining contracts will be administered alphabetically based on organization names or the names of the contractor's fiscal sponsor.
I'm Barbara Horowitz, and I will be administering all Core contracts whose organization names or fiscal sponsor names begin with the letter A.
I'm Peggy Ellithorpe, and I will be administering all Core contracts whose organizational names or fiscal sponsor names begin with the letters B through E.
I'm Laura Odegaard, and I will be administering all Core contracts whose organization names or fiscal sponsor names begin with the letters F through O.
I'm Anne-Marie McCaskill-Davis, and I will be administering all Core contracts whose organization names or fiscal sponsor names begin with the letters P through Z.
Please reach out to your contract administrator first, as they are going to be most familiar with your specific contract. If they are not available, feel free to contact another member of the Cultural Arts Funding Team. As you may have noticed, award amounts for FY19 were down from last year. This is due to two major factors. We had less overall hotel occupancy tax funds to award, and we had a large increase in the number of applicants in both funding programs. If you'd like to get more details regarding how awards were determined, we encourage you to attend the Enter the Matrix workshop. Please visit www.austincreates.com to find workshop dates and to RSVP. If you have questions about your specific award amount, please consider speaking with your contract administrator during open office hours from 9 a.m. to noon on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month. No appointment is necessary. The Culturally Specific Marketing Supplement, also referred to as CSMS, was awarded to eligible Core and Cultural Heritage Festival funding program recipients to support marketing and audience development needs. For an applicant to be eligible for the Culturally Specific Marketing Supplement, they had to have a mission statement that included an effort to serve culturally specific groups, and 50% or more of the board, staff, and participating artists had to be members of the community that is served by the mission of the applicant. Though eligible applicants with budgets over $100,000 were able to request $10,000 in CSMS funding, the maximum award was $7,500 and was awarded to applicants who had a perfect marketing score of 10 points. Eligible applicants with budgets under $100,000 were able to request $5,000 in CSMS funding, but the maximum award of $3,750 was awarded to applicants who had a perfect marketing score of 10. Eligible applicants who scored at least 7 out of 10 points in the marketing evaluation criteria were awarded CSMS funds. Any applicant who scored less than 7 points was not awarded CSMS funds. If you were awarded CSMS funds, you may use the award for any of the following activities: marketing services, including but not limited to research and/or audience development, tourism promotion, market strategy study, identifying target markets, and brand identity. Media placement and production, including radio, television, digital advertising, social media advertising, print, etc., that is independent of those that are or will be attached to another City of Austin cultural funding program in any given fiscal year. Development or improvement of website presence for the purpose of promoting artistic and cultural activities to residents, visitors, and tourists. Development or improvement in the use and production of social media sites as a form of promotion and advertising to residents, visitors, and tourists. Development of collaborative marketing strategies. Production and distribution of video, CD, or DVDs pertaining to a project or annual programming, including paying for the photographer or videographer. Salary support for administrative staff, contract labor, and/or consultants for a scope of service pertaining to the applicant's project narrative. Funding may not be used for full-time or executive staff salaries. Any existing marketing efforts. International, national, and regional marketing and/or audience development initiatives, as well as local initiatives that raise overall awareness of the city as a cultural destination. Remember that the CSMS award has no matching requirement and can be used in conjunction with core or CHFP funds allocated to other marketing expenses. Applicants cannot decline their core or CHFP award and still receive the CSMS award. Additionally, fiscal sponsors may not apply a sponsorship fee to the CSMS award. Please mark your calendar with these important dates. All FY18 final reports for all funding programs are due on Monday, October 30th. If you are a sponsored project, please submit your materials to your fiscal sponsor by their internal due date. Items can be turned in before October 30th, but this is the latest date that the final report can be submitted. FY19 contracts cannot be entered into until all FY18 final reports are successfully closed out. If you received any cultural arts funding in FY 2018, you will not be able to enter into your FY19 contracts until all of your FY18 final reports are successfully closed out, including your core, cultural heritage festivals, capacity building, and/or community initiatives contracts. Please note for sponsored projects, we cannot enter into your contract until your fiscal sponsor has had their FY18 final report approved. And for fiscal sponsors, we cannot enter into your contract until all of your sponsored projects have had their FY18 final reports approved. All FY19 pre-contract materials are due on Friday, November 9th. If you are a sponsored project, please submit your materials to your fiscal sponsor by their internal pre-contract due date. FY19 contracts cannot be entered into until all FY19 pre-contract materials are submitted and approved by your contract administrator. Once your pre-contract materials are approved, your contract administrator will post your contract to your ZoomGrants account. FY19 contracts must be signed and returned by the contractor no later than Friday, December 7th. Contracts may be signed electronically and should be posted to the contract section of your ZoomGrants account. Please note for sponsored projects, your fiscal sponsor will sign and upload your contract to your ZoomGrants account on your behalf. Checks will go out in January for signed contracts submitted on December 7th. If you'd like to have your payment before January, we would encourage you to submit all contract materials far in advance of the deadlines. Let's take a look at a sample contract processing timeline. Let's say that your FY18 final report was approved some time ago and you are ready to work on your pre-contract materials. You turn them in to your contract administrator on the November 9th due date. It will take approximately 2 weeks for your contract administrator to review and approve your pre-contract materials. Assuming everything is in order and there are no errors, your contract administrator will prepare your contract and post it to your ZoomGrants account by November 30th. Keep in mind that with the Thanksgiving holiday, it may take a few extra days for your contract administrator to review and post your pre-contract materials. Once you've been notified that your contract has been posted, you may log into your ZoomGrants account and download your contract for review. You will need to sign the signature page of the contract. Once signed, you upload it by the December 7th deadline. Your contract administrator will review your contract one last time and will send it to the city's purchasing office for processing. It generally takes purchasing about 2 weeks to process a contract. With the holiday season fast approaching, please note that we will likely not get approvals on contracts until after the winter holiday break. Once we receive the approval from the purchasing office, we will send you instructions for requesting your first payment. It is likely that if you wait until the November 7th deadline to submit your pre-contract materials, that you will not receive your first payment until sometime in January 2019. We highly encourage contractors to submit their FY18 final reports and pre-contract materials as soon as possible rather than waiting for due dates. Please note that the earliest possible payments for FY19 will be issued in mid-November, although the majority of first contract payments go out in December and January. So, how can you receive your FY19 funds before January? Turn in all of your final report and pre-contract materials well in advance of the deadlines. Most delays in processing pre-contract and final report materials occur because of errors in the submitted paperwork. Take extra care when filling out all the forms and double-check them before submitting. Final reports and pre-contract materials are reviewed on a first-come, first-served basis. If we have to send your materials back to you for corrections, your updated materials then go to the back of the queue and other materials will be reviewed first in the order received. If you aren't sure how to complete the forms, or if you have questions, please consider attending open office hours or contacting your contract administrator with your questions prior to submitting your materials.
There are several contract requirements related to your fiscal year 19 cultural contract. You must meet the matching requirements based on your funding program and your award amount. You must complete and submit all the requested pre-contract materials. All contractors must provide a complete revised project activity summary, a revised budget based on your award amount, an insurance certificate that meets the requirements of your insurance assessment, and complete the pre-contract orientation quiz. Sponsored projects will also be required to provide a signed sponsorship agreement form. All contractors who were awarded $59,000 or more must complete and submit Form 1295. All contractors are required to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. All contractors must include the Cultural Arts Division logo and publicity statement on all funded marketing materials and must use nowplayingaustin.com to list all funded events. All contractors must submit a final report 30 days after the final contracted event has concluded, rounded to the end of that month. New for fiscal year 19 is the pre-contract orientation quiz. You can find a link to the quiz in the attachment section of your ZoomGrants application. The quiz will cover important information covered in this orientation. Once you complete the quiz, you will be provided with the correct answers to questions that you may have missed. Please submit a copy of your answer page as proof that you completed the quiz. Beginning in fiscal year 19, we are asking all cultural contractors to complete the Creative Space Survey. Your response to this annual survey will directly inform City of Austin programs and policies in support of affordable creative space and cultural facilities. The link to the survey can be found in Section 5 attachments of your ZoomGrants account or by visiting the website directly at austintexas.gov/creative space survey. From the survey page, you will have the choice of 2 surveys, one for individual artists and one for arts organizations or businesses. Select the option that best applies to you. After completing the survey, upload a copy of the survey completion page to your application in ZoomGrants. The survey will be required for pre-contract applications beginning in 2020 fiscal year, but we are asking all applicants to begin taking it in fiscal year 19. For more information on how to take a screenshot of the survey confirmation page, make sure to visit the links on the screen. All cultural arts funding programs except for the capacity building and the culturally specific marketing supplement require the contractor to match the funds awarded. Depending on the program in which you have received funds, you may have to show a 1-to-1 match or a half match. In core programs for organizational support and project support 1, you will need to show in your revised budget that you will be able to meet the 1-to-1 match. For project support 1, 50% of that match may be met with an allowable in-kind support that is well documented. Contractors receiving funds in CORE's organizational support must meet the match with cash expenses only. In the example, if you were awarded $5,000, you would be required to show in your revised budget that you will have an additional $5,000 in matching dollars, making your minimum total budget $10,000. In your revised budget, you may show that you will have a total of $7,500 in cash expenses, which is your $5,000 award plus the $2,500 minimum cash match and the $2,500 of in-kind expenses. You may show in your revision that you have more expenses than you need to meet the matching requirement. If you're worried that you will not be able to meet the matching requirement, you have the option of accepting a smaller award amount. In cultural heritage festivals, as well as core project support 2 and 3, you will need to show in your revised budget that you will be able to meet the half match. Of that match, 50% may be met with allowable in-kind support that is well documented. In the example, if you were awarded $5,000, you would be required to show in your revised budget that you will have an additional $2,500 in matching dollars, making your minimum total budget $7,500. In your revised budget, you may show that you will have a total of $6,250 in cash expenses, which is $5,000 award amount plus the $1,250 minimum cash match and the $1,250 of in-kind expenses. You may show in your revision that you have more expenses than you need to meet the matching requirement. There are several documents that you will need to complete before we will enter into the contract. We call this collection of documents your pre-contract materials. They include the Fiscal Year 19 Activity Revision Form, the Fiscal Year 19 Revised Budget Form, your insurance certificate, insurance requirements document, which Cultural Arts Division will provide to you, and an accessibility assessment. New for Fiscal Year 19 is the pre-contract orientation quiz and the Creative Space Survey. The Creative Space Survey is optional to complete for this year, but will become mandatory for the 2020 fiscal year. Sponsored projects must complete a sponsorship agreement. Both the sponsored project and the fiscal sponsor will need to complete and sign this agreement and upload it to the application. Electronic signatures are accepted. Additionally, all contractors whose awards are over $59,000 will need to complete Form 1295, which is a form required by the Texas Ethics Commission. As a cultural contractor, you are required to use the Cultural Arts Division logo and publicity statement on all marketing materials related to your contracted activities, including your website. Please be sure that you are using the correct logo and publicity statement. You can find the new logo in your ZoomGrants account in the Library tab. If you need a high-resolution version of the logo, please contact your contract administrator. All cultural contractors are required to post their contracted events on nowplayingaustin.com. Please post your events at least 2 weeks in advance. If you have questions or need assistance posting your events, please contact the Austin Creative Alliance by emailing info@austincreativealliance.org. The Cultural Arts Division is happy to help spread the word about your upcoming events. Please send your contract administrator a 1 to 3 sentence description of your event, along with a high-resolution image 1 to 2 weeks before your event, and we will do our best to share it on the Cultural Arts Division social media platforms. Additionally, if you would like to be the featured cultural contractor in our monthly newsletter, please contact your contract administrator to put in your request. If you are looking for more ideas on how to market your events, please check out our Get Noticed marketing workshops on our website, austincreates.com. The Get Noticed video series includes a session on PR and marketing basics, social media, and how to get the attention of local arts and cultural journalists in Austin.
To find the pre-contract materials, simply log into your ZoomGrants account and open your approved FY19 Core or Cultural Heritage Festivals application. If you have forgotten your password, you can click on the Forgot Password link to reset it. If you do not recall which email you used to log in, please contact your contract administrator for assistance. Once you are logged into your account, click on the title of your approved FY19 application. Once your application is open, click on Section 5 Attachments to find the templates and links for the pre-contract materials. This is also where you will upload your completed pre-contract materials. Scroll down to the bottom of Section 5 Attachments and find the pre-contract materials. Click on the orange links to download the templates or to follow the links to the website that hosts the requested pre-contract document. The FY19 Revised Activity Form provides you with an opportunity to change the scope and scale of your activities based on your official FY19 award amount. Keep in mind that if you decide to make changes to your proposed activities, the changes must be proportional to the change from your request amount to your award amount. This means that if you requested $20,000 to do 10 events, but you were only awarded $10,000, you may reduce your events proportionally to 5 events rather than the original 10. If you have questions regarding your activity changes, please contact your contract administrator. Please note that all contractors are required to complete the revised activity summary, even if the project scope does not change. The activities listed on this form will be the activities that you will be contracted to complete within the FY19 fiscal year. List only activities that will be open to the public and will occur in Austin. Do not list rehearsals, recording studio time, or any other event that the public cannot access. Remember that all contracted activities must occur in Austin and fall within the FY19 fiscal year, which runs from October 1, 2018 through September 30th, 2019. If you have questions regarding events that straddle the fiscal year, please contact your contract administrator. When filling out the revised activity form, please be sure to include the name of the contractor or organization. If the contractor is fiscally sponsored, please put the fiscal sponsor's name in the organization contractor name line and the sponsored project name in the sponsored project name line. You will also need to include your control number on the form. You can find this number on your award letter. For the contract end date, please be sure to list the date of your last contracted activity. You will use that date to determine your final report due date by adding 30 days to your final event date and then rounding to the end of the month. So in this example, the final event date is on July 21. Add 30 days, August 21st, and then round to the end of the month, August 30th. This is the final report due date. The revised activity summary is what we use when reviewing your final report to ensure you accomplished all your contract-related activities you said you would accomplish. As such, there's no need for flowery language here, so no world premiere featuring international caliber artists. Instead, we want the nuts and bolts: the name of the event, the number of activities per event, dates and locations. Please note that if you are co-producing an event with another organization that is receiving funding, only one organization can list that event as part of their contracted activities. If you use all the space provided on the form, please upload an extra document listing additional contracted events that you were not able to fit on the revised activity form. Once we have entered into contract with you, please contact your contract administrator as soon as possible if you need to make any changes to your list of contracted events. As you work on your revised activity summary, please refer to the project summary in Section 4 of your approved application. The activities that you listed in your revised activity summary should be similar to what you proposed in your application. For example, if you stated that you were going to produce 3 visual art exhibitions in your application, but you revise your activities to include 2 dance performances, your contract administrator would not approve this change, as a dance performance is not what you included in your proposal. You could, however, change the proposed location, exhibition dates, and the number of exhibitions proposed. Next is the revised budget form. Note that each funding program has its own slightly different revised budget form, so be sure that you're submitting the correct form for your funding program. The purpose of the revised budget form is to tell us how you intend to spend your core or CHFP award amount and the match. Here are some important things to remember regarding your revised budget. The total income must be the same as your total expenses, meaning your budget must balance. Use the color-coded columns to help you allocate your income and expenses to either the city award, the CSMS award, the cash match, or the in-kind match. The revised budget should be fairly detailed. Provide an explanation as to how you arrived at your totals in the memo description column for your earned and unearned income. Be sure that in line 9A, you are only listing your core or CHFP award amount, and not the total of your core or CHFP award and the CSMS award. The award amounts are listed on your official award letter. The CSMS award should be listed in line 9B. The in-kind income in line 11 must equal the total in-kind expenses in line 24. Here are some important things to remember when completing the expenses section of your revised budget form. Total expenses, line 24, must be the same as your total income, line 12. The core award, or the CHFP award column, the orange column, should match your total core or CHFP award amount. When allocating your city funds, we recommend that you allocate funds to your largest expenses. In particular, we recommend that you allocate city funds to paying for people, space, or marketing expenses, as those line items are expenses that have the fewest restrictions. If you have questions about eligible and ineligible expenses, please see FY19 core or CHFP guidelines. It is important that you try to allocate your city award amount to expenses that you feel are set or will have minimal change as you complete your contracted activities, because we verify during the final report process that your city funding expense allocations do not change more than 20% of your award amount per line item. As you progress through your contracted activities and you do encounter a situation that will cause you to have a major change in how you originally allocated your city funds, please document the reason for the change, as you'll need to provide an explanation when you submit your final report. Remember to allocate all your CSMS award to line 21, Marketing, the blue column. You are allowed to use both the CSMS award and some of your core or CHFP award on your marketing expenses. The purple column should meet your matching requirement at a minimum. If you wish to include in-kind expenses in your budget, be sure that the total in-kind column, the green column, is the same as line 11 in your income portion of your budget. Remember to provide a fairly detailed budget. If your contract administrator does not feel that you've provided sufficient detail of your proposed expenses, you will be asked to revise your budget. Please double and triple check your work before submission. When revisions are requested, your updated materials, once submitted, are moved to the bottom of the queue, delaying approval and processing of your contract. Note that the cultural arts funding staff will not be able to review pre-contract materials by email prior to official submission. Consider attending open office hours on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month from 9 a.m. to noon to have cultural arts funding staff review your materials in person prior to official submission. We are looking for a balanced budget when reviewing pre-contract materials. Please double check your budget to ensure your budget balances and that all expense column totals match the corresponding income lines. Use the color-coded form to help you make sure that you have the correct amounts and totals throughout your revised budget. As you work on the revised budget, be sure to reference your application budget in Section 4, Budget and Activity Summary. Once you have completed all of your pre-contract materials, please go back to Section 5, Attachments. Scroll down to the bottom of the list of requested documents and upload your completed pre-contract materials by clicking on the Upload button to the right of the requested pre-contract document.
The next pre-contract document is your insurance certificate. The type of insurance required will vary depending on your responses to the insurance assessment form that you submitted with your application. Your contract administrator has uploaded your insurance requirements to the Administrative Documents area of Section 5 Attachments in your ZoomGrants account. 99% of all cultural contractors will be required to carry general liability insurance. 50 to 75% of all cultural contractors will be required to carry automobile liability insurance. If you plan on hosting your event at a facility managed by the city's Parks and Recreation Department, you will be required to carry both general liability insurance and auto liability insurance. If you are responsible for selling alcohol at your event, you will be required to carry liquor liability insurance. You're not required to carry liquor liability if alcohol will be served at no cost at your event, but you are highly encouraged to get this coverage. A few of you will be required to carry workers' compensation insurance. This is for any contractor who is hosting an event on city property that is not managed by the city's Parks and Recreation Department, such as a library branch, Zilker Hillside Theater, or airport. There are 3 specific endorsements to your insurance policy that are required. Page 2 of the insurance assessment form lists these 3 endorsements, as well as the most common coverages we ask for. Please share these with your insurance agent. This will help get the ball rolling to obtain a cost estimate for the correct insurance coverage for your event. If you plan on securing an event insurance policy rather than an annual general liability policy, you will be required to include a letter on your letterhead stating that you will provide your contract administrator with proof of the required insurance coverage at least 30 days before the date of your first contracted activity. All insurance certificates require 3 endorsements. A 30-day notice of cancellation is the first. If the insurance company does not offer the 30-day notice, we require a statement to that effect from the carrier or underwriter, not your agent, for documentation. This may be in the form of an email. The second endorsement is a waiver of subrogation in favor of the City of Austin. City of Austin as an additional insured using the correct name and address. City of Austin, Economic Development Department, Cultural Arts Division, 201 East 2nd Street, Austin, Texas 78701. This endorsement is not required for workers' compensation insurance. If you're required to carry auto liability insurance, you have a few options to meet this requirement. Instead of adding auto liability to your current general liability policy, you have the option of submitting your personal auto policy, but it will need to meet these coverage limits: $100,000 bodily injury per person, $300,000 bodily injury per accident, and $50,000 property damage. Additionally, your personal auto policy will need to have the same endorsements: the 30-day notice of cancellation, the waiver of subrogation in favor of the city, and adding the city on as an interested party. If your auto insurance company does not offer one or more of these endorsements, you must submit a letter or email from the insurance company, not the agent, stating that they do not provide that specific endorsement. If you decide not to use your personal auto policy, your other option is to rent a vehicle for your contract-related activities and provide us with a copy of the rental agreement along with proof that you purchased the additional insurance through the rental company. If vehicle rental is your selection, your pre-contract materials require a letter on your letterhead that states that you plan on renting a vehicle for your contract-related activities. All insurance and vehicle rental expenses can be paid for with your award or used as part of your match. If you will be hiring someone to move the equipment, you will need to provide a copy of their auto policy with the required endorsements. Please have your insurance agent send your coverage information to us on an ACORD form. This insurance certificate is an industry standard, so your insurance agent will be familiar with the ACORD form. This form allows the cultural funding staff to review all the relevant information in a consistent single-page format, rather than having to look through pages upon pages of your policy, which will considerably slow down your pre-contract materials review. Before submitting your insurance certificate, please take a few minutes to review the ACORD form for the following. Be sure that the insurance certificate was issued no more than 6 months ago. Even if your policy is still in effect, Purchasing Department will not accept the policy if the date in the upper right-hand corner is over 6 months old. Additionally, the named insured must match the name and address listed in your City of Austin vendor registration. Please also be sure that the ACORD form lists the 3 required endorsements: City of Austin as an additional insured, 30-day notice of cancellation, and waiver of subrogation. This image is of the middle section of the ACORD form. The first orange box shows the types of insurance that are being provided. So in this case, both general liability and auto liability for hired and non-autos is being provided. The second box shows that the endorsements for additional insured and waiver of subrogation have been included in this policy. Sometimes these endorsements are listed at the bottom of the ACORD form, so if these boxes are not checked, please look to see if they are listed at the bottom of the insurance certificate. If the endorsements are missing from both locations, you will need to contact your insurance company to verify that you have requested to have these endorsements added to your policy, and that documentation must be provided as an addendum to your ACORD form. This will be uploaded to the same ZoomGrants Section 5 attachments location. Box 3 shows the policy number. There must be a policy number in this box. If the policy number box is left blank or has the word binder, the insurance is not in place and the certificate is not valid. Box 4 shows the policy effective and expiration dates. These dates must fall within the fiscal year contract period, October 1, 2018 through September 30th, 2019. And finally, Box 5 shows the policy coverage limits. Please be sure that your policy meets the minimum coverage limits listed on the second page of the insurance assessment form that you submitted with your application. The bottom portion of the ACORD form includes an area where the insurance company can list the endorsements and names of any sponsored projects that are also being added on as an additional insured. This is where the 30-day notice of cancellation can also be listed. The certificate holder box must list the following exactly: City of Austin, Economic Development Department, Cultural Arts Division, 201 East 2nd Street, Austin, Texas 78701. All City of Austin contractors must be compliant with the current Americans with Disabilities Act laws, also known as ADA laws. The city's ADA office requires that all contractors complete and submit an accessibility assessment to Lee Nguyen, the Assistant ADA Coordinator with the City of Austin. He will review your assessment and will determine if you are required to complete an additional ADA quiz. Please remember to upload your completed ADA assessment and quiz if you are also required to complete one to your ZoomGrants account in Section 5 attachments. If you have questions regarding ADA compliance, please contact Lee at the city's ADA office. This is what the accessibility assessment looks like. Please be sure to fill it out completely to the best of your ability. You can find Lee's email address at the bottom of the second page of the form. Sponsorship agreements are required for all sponsored projects. Initiated by the fiscal sponsor, this form outlines how the fiscal sponsor will receive and distribute the city funds to their cultural contractor. It also describes how the fiscal sponsor's administrative fees will be paid. Remember that fiscal sponsors may not charge more than 10% of the total core or cultural heritage festivals award amount in administrative fees. Fiscal sponsors may not charge a fee on the culturally specific marketing supplement. This form must be signed by both the fiscal sponsor and the sponsored project. Form 1295 is mandated by the State Ethics Commission for all municipal contracts over the administrative authority, which is $59,000. Contractors who received an award of $59,000 or more are required to complete Form 1295. If you have questions regarding how to complete this form, please contact the Texas Ethics Commission. Once you have completed the form, please upload a copy to Section 5 of your ZoomGrants account. After viewing this video, you will need to complete the pre-contract orientation quiz. The link to the quiz is located in Section 5 attachments. Please upload a copy of your scoring page to Section 5 attachments. Proof that you completed the quiz is a new requirement of your pre-contract materials. Remember that all pre-contract materials are available in your Fiscal Year 19 ZoomGrants account. Click on Section 5 attachments and scroll down the page to find templates available for download on the left side of the page and upload buttons on the right. Click the upload button next to the pre-contract document that you wish to upload to your application. All pre-contract materials must be uploaded to ZoomGrants in Section 5 attachments. Please email your contract administrator when all pre-contract materials have been uploaded. You must submit your pre-contract materials by Friday, November 9th, 2018. And a reminder for sponsored projects, please defer to your fiscal sponsor's pre-contract due date.
If this is your first time receiving city funding, you will need to verify that your vendor registration has been approved by the city's finance office. If you're a returning contractor, it's a good idea to make sure that your organization name and mailing address are listed correctly in your vendor account. This is particularly important if you moved or if your organization changed names in the last year. If you are a sponsored project, you don't need to worry about vendor registration, as the payment will go to your fiscal sponsor. Google City of Austin Vendor Connection and click on the link for Austin Finance Online to verify that your vendor registration is approved and up to date. Please note that your organization name and mailing address in your ZoomGrants account must match exactly to the information listed in your vendor account. This is what the new Vendor Connection website looks like. Current vendors will log in using their username and password. If you do not know what your username is or your password, you may click the links below the login to retrieve them. If you find that you are having trouble with the site, you can call vendor registration directly at 512-974-2018. Once you have your registration verified or made any updates to your account, please forward your contract administrator the email from vendor registration verifying that your registration has been accepted. This email may take 2 or 3 days to arrive after you submit the vendor registration corrections. If you do not receive an email after 3 days confirming your registration, you will need to call the vendor registration office to see what may be holding up your registration's approval. Once your vendor account registration or update has been approved, you will need to log in to your ZoomGrants account to make sure your organization name and mailing address matches your vendor information. Once you are logged into your account, click on My Account Home just under the CAD logo on the left-hand side of the screen. Next, click on Account Profile. Then, click on the My Organization tab. verify that the organization legal name, address, city, state, and zip code all match the information in your vendor registration. They must match exactly, including punctuation and abbreviations. Any error will cause a delay in processing your contract and your first payment. To initiate contract, you must complete and have approved all pre-contract materials found in Section 5 attachments. If your pre-contract materials are correct, your contract administrator will upload your contract to your ZoomGrants account in the Contracts tab. For Cultural Heritage Festivals program recipients, the pre-contract materials are all that are needed to initiate your contract. Your contract administrator will compile your approved pre-contract materials to create your contract and will forward the completed contract for processing and will upload the executed copy of your signed contract to the Contract tab of your application. For Core, we will post your contract in the Contract tab. You will download the contract, sign it on page 16, and upload it to the Contract tab. We will review it one last time and sign it and submit it for processing. We will upload the executed contract to your Contracts tab so you will have it for your records. The Core contract will include the contract document. Page 16 of the contract document is where you or your fiscal sponsor will sign. Your contract administrator will attach your approved activity summary and budget forms along with your insurance requirements and certificate and, if applicable, your sponsorship agreement or Form 1295. Download the contract from the Contract tab in your ZoomGrants account. Sign page 16, and just so you know, electronic signatures are acceptable. Fiscal sponsors must upload the signed contract for all sponsored projects. Upload the signed contract to the Contracts tab and then type initials into the text box to the right of your uploaded document. Fiscal sponsors must upload the signed contract for all sponsored projects. Once the signed contract is uploaded, you will scroll to the bottom of the Contract tab page and add your name and title to electronically sign the verification that you have uploaded the completed signed contract. Do not enter your name and title until your signed contract has been uploaded first. Then, click the link Add an Entry to notify your contract administrator that you have uploaded the signed contract. When you click the link Add an Entry, it will take you to the activity log. Once you're there, click the Grant Maker Action Requested radio button. Add a description to indicate that you have uploaded your contract. Click the Add Activity Entry button. Your contract has now been submitted for final review and once approved will be signed by the Cultural Arts Division Manager. The executed contract will be uploaded to the Contract tab so you will have it for your records. Once you have uploaded your signed contract, your contract administrator will have the Cultural Arts Division Manager sign your contract and then will submit it to the purchasing office for processing. It usually takes 2 weeks for the purchasing office to review and process submitted contracts. Once the Cultural Arts funding staff is notified that your contract has been approved, we will send you instructions for requesting your first payment using the ZoomGrants invoicing system. Once we receive the signed contract from you, it may take up to 8 weeks for you to receive your first payment, regardless of program. It may take less time, but for cash flow purposes, we advise you to budget on the conservative side and expect it to take the full amount of time. Once we contact you that it has been processed, you can request your first payment. For Cultural Heritage Festivals program, the first 75% of your award can be requested upon the processing of your contract. The final 25% of your award can be requested upon successful completion and closeout of final report. Payments for Core, Project Support 2, and Project Support 3 can request the first 40% of your award upon processing of contract. The next 50% can be requested on or after January 1st, and the final 10% can be requested upon successful completion and closeout of final report. Payment for Core, Organizational Support, and Project Support 1 can request the first 30% of your award upon processing of contract. The next 30% can be requested on or after January 1st. The third 30% payment can be requested on or after March 1st, and the final 10% can be requested upon successful completion and closeout of final report. Other than the first payment, you don't need to wait for us to contact you. Once your contract has been approved, we will send you your instructions for creating an invoice for payment. To generate your payment request or invoice, click on the Payments tab and then click the button Create a New Invoice. A pop-out window will open where you can generate your own payment invoice. To create your invoice number, please use your control number and add 01 for the first payment, 02 for the second payment, and so on for each subsequent payment. You will need to enter the amount of funding that you wish to request. Based on your funding program, you can request between 30 and 75% of your award. If you request more than the appropriate amount, we will return the invoice to you for correction. When filling out the invoice, please leave the text box labeled Payment Instructions completely blank. Enter the name of the person who should be contacted regarding the invoice, their phone number, and email address. If you need more help with generating an invoice, please watch the ZoomGrants training video by clicking the How Do I Do This link at the top of the invoice. Once you have filled out the invoice, don't forget to click the Submit Invoice button. This part is super important. Your final report is due 30 days after you've completed your project, rounded to the end of the month. Attending final report workshops are required. Workshops are offered monthly between November and July, and then are offered more frequently between August and October. Please visit austincreates.com to find a full listing of our upcoming workshops. We ask for quite a bit of information in the final reports, including audience attendance and demographics, marketing and outreach efforts, proof that the CAD logo and publicity statements were used, and proof of project-related income and expenses. If you would like to see the final report materials, you can find them in the final report section of your approved application. In addition to the final report form, you will be required to submit a final report expense documentation form, also known as the EDF. You will find that the EDF is formatted similarly to the pre-contract revised budget. You will use this form to provide a detailed breakdown of your project-related expenses. You may submit a QuickBooks or other similar software expense report in lieu of the EDF, as long as the report provides all the information requested in the EDF. Please note that you will need to upload copies of receipts for payment made with cash and any in-kind contributions needed to meet your matching requirement. Fiscal sponsors, please note that you will need to give your sponsored projects access to the final report form. If you would like for your sponsored projects to be able to request their own payments, you can also give them access to the invoice payment section of their application by clicking the box below the word Financial. This will allow each sponsored project the ability to complete their final report and to submit invoices as needed. To give them access, please open their approved application and check the boxes for Final Report and Financial Invoices under the Collaborators heading in Section 1 Summary. If you need more assistance, please contact the Cultural Arts Funding Program staff. Additionally, the Cultural Arts Division offers monthly open office hours on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month from 9 a.m. until noon. No appointment is necessary, and we will gladly validate your parking if you park in the Convention Center parking garage above the Cultural Arts Division offices. If you need access to an internet connection or a computer, you're welcome to use the computers at the Austin Public Libraries, or you may schedule an appointment to use computers at the Cultural Arts Division offices. So, now that you've completed the pre-contract orientation, please log in to your ZoomGrants account and complete the pre-contract orientation quiz. Thanks so much for watching.